I just found this footage from a couple years ago where I was experimenting with illustration markers and wearing the camera on my head. Yeah, I don't like that. That's hard to watch. I have always wanted to be a plein air painter though. I just never spent much time doing it. Every summer I do a little bit of drawing and painting outside, but I've never been satisfied with the experience or the paintings. This year, I decided once and for all I would do a whole bunch of experiments and create a system that solves all of the difficulties so I could actually enjoy painting outside. I want all of my plein air equipment to fit inside a regular, normal backpack. It should be as small and light and functional as possible. I designed this weird easel contraption thing that folds up really small, and it even had a mount for my camera built right onto it, but you'll see that eventually I gave up on it. I tried standing so I wouldn't need to carry a chair around, but my legs don't like that, so I bought a cool little chair that's small and portable, and it's even comfortable if I also carry a little lumbar pillow around with me, so I almost always paint sitting down now. That means that the best option for me would be a pochade box, just propped on my knees. Throw in some little rim shelf things to hold my palette, a divider for my brushes, and a folding arm that pops up for me to clip my GoPro to, and I'm good to go.
God damn it.
I tried painting on smooth Bristol board, medium tooth watercolor paper, and canvas. I like all of them, so that's not a big deal. I changed my approach each time, sometimes with imprimatura, which is coloring the paper or canvas ahead of time, and sometimes not. Sometimes I did somewhat more drawing, other times I just jump right in with the big shapes. And each method has advantages and disadvantages, but as long as I always keep in mind that the subject doesn't matter, that the composition is the thing, then it usually works out okay. Although some of the experiments I did were really, really bad. I'm not showing you those. I also try to stick to the no photo rule. I do work from photographs in my studio, but I really, really, really prefer not to. I try really hard to only work from life. It's just not the same. I also decided to limit myself to 1 hour at a time, otherwise the sun moves too much and that annoys me. I have no problem going back to the same spot a couple of days in a row though, if the weather is similar, for up to 3, maybe 4 times. As far as paint goes, I aim for the fewest colors with the widest range of possibilities. And my 2 rules are: 1, only the highest light fastness rating, which eliminates really popular colors like alizarin crimson. And I used to use dioxazine purple, but I noticed that it has different light fastness rating depending on what brand you're using, which makes me suspicious about how accurate that light fastness rating is, so I gave up on dioxazine. Rule number 2 is I don't use anything that's toxic, which means no cobalt, no cadmium, and no lead. It's kind of a bummer. Some of those colors are great, they're beautiful. It's just a choice that I've made for myself. I wanted to simplify as much as humanly possible for plein air painting, so I limit myself to 1 dark, cool red. That red mixes with a good bright yellow to make every transitional color between them, like orange, red, orange, all of that. That same yellow mixes with a light-ish, sort of a warm-ish kind of a blue that makes most of my greens, and then a dark, cool blue mixes with the dark, cool red to make a super dark violet, which I can then lighten with white, obviously, or if I just have that pure violet and add a touch of yellow to it, it turns into a usable substitute for black, and that's all I need. Red, yellow, 2 blues, and white. I mentioned in a previous video that after painting with oils for about 7 or 8 years, I decided to give up on them forever and stick to my favorite medium, which is acrylics. If you give up on something and you don't miss it, then you know your life is better without it, you didn't need it in the first place, and you move on from there. If you miss it at first and then the feeling fades away, then you know you didn't need it and you were just hesitant to change. If you get rid of something and the craving to have it back grows stronger over time, well, then you have to consider the possibility that maybe you should reacquire it and not give it up again. Being without oils for a while simplified my artistic life. I love acrylics now more than ever, but when I decided to get more serious about plein air painting, I couldn't shake the craving to use oils again, so I bought some, and I love them. Of course, all of the paintings that I've shown so far have been done in acrylics. But the very last one, which starts out as a charcoal drawing, that one turns into an oil painting. As far as medium goes, with acrylics, you can paint with just water. I've heard some people express different opinions about that. I've heard a recommendation of using airbrush medium, which I absolutely hate. It has a really weird, slippery texture to it. I have recently started incorporating more slow dry medium into my acrylic paintings, especially a slow dry medium as recommended by Simkins. You should go check out his channel. He is a phenomenal painter. And as far as oil painting, I highly recommend using an alkyd medium. I like Liquin Original, Liquin from Winsor Newton. It increases the gloss of your paint a bit. It makes it flow a bit smoother. It makes it dry a lot faster. You still have plenty of time to work on it, but it's going to be dry by the next day. So if you don't want it to be dry the next day, just don't use any medium. Use the paint straight out of the tube. I've done that plenty of times too, but for plein air painting, I'm sticking with Liquin.
That's unbelievable, my man.
Thanks.